Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Wednesday. Robin, you and I speak to a lot of writers, some of them authors, some of them journalists, and it is the creative writers I wanted to talk about just for a second here. When a creative writer sits down to write a work of fiction or work that is intended to be entertainment, it's amazing how that first word is the beginning to something. And I'm not trying to make things more mysterious than they really are, but it's amazing how that first word will lead to something that could change our lives. And nothing really changes our lives ever, but they do in small ways or maybe in profound ways, which profound can be big. So I guess that makes sense. But there are characters that we know and love and have become part of our culture that all started out with some writer somewhere sitting down, writing one word after another, and next thing you know, there are these characters that become part of our lives. You could name them endlessly, right? Mm-hmm. And then when that same writer has become a character herself or himself, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but we get to know the people who write the people, right? Yeah. It is weird that you don't know them because you feel like you do know them. And then when they write a memoir, it's even more so. And I guess that's where I'm going with Delia Ephron. She and her late great sister Nora, who passed away I think 2 years ago now, if I remember right, and their parents, by the way, are contributors to that fascinating world of writing that I was just trying to express and probably stumbled over because I don't do it very well. But Delia is on the phone right now. I heard you tell her it was an honor. I agree. It's an honor to have Delia Ephron on the phone. Her book.
Well, thank you.
Good morning, Delia. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good. And where are you right now?
I'm in New York City, in Greenwich Village.
Really?
In my apartment.
If I come up there, can we hang out? Can we just...
Sure.
Can we just go someplace with a dog and a cup of coffee? Can we do the Jerry Seinfeld thing? Like radio hosts and writers in cars getting coffee?
Oh, we should definitely do that. Definitely. Let me know when you're coming up here.
Your book this is actually the paperback release last year, I believe, was the hardback. Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog. So this is very personal for you, and what I said in the beginning, we have so many people in our lives that aren't real people that you created. Your family created.
Oh, yeah. That's such a compliment. Thank you very much.
But it's weird, isn't it? You sit down.
You mentioned Seinfeld, but I always have that. Sometimes I think that show is embedded in my brain.
Isn't that a compliment to him, though, and to Larry David? Yeah. Isn't it a compliment to
totally,
especially the writers of that show? Well, and isn't that true for Woody Allen? Isn't that true for so many writers?
Yeah, it is true. They, one of the things about You've Got Mail, which was when we wrote it, was that You've Got Mail began as a play in some country like Czechoslovakia, and then it's a play in New York, and then it's a movie, and then it's a musical called She Loves Me, and then it's another movie, and then it's our movie, You've Got Mail. So because then we update it, and yet there are things that remain the same. Those characters, in some way, they were invented in Czechoslovakia or something. That to me was, when I got to work on You've Got Mail, because I had loved this movie, The Shop Around the Corner with Jimmy Stewart. But then I looked at the history when I was writing Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog. I looked at the history of the piece, and somebody created characters so memorable, and the idea is that in the beginning they were in love through the mail, but they hated each other in person. And in You've Got Mail, they're in love on the internet, but they hate each other in person. They don't know each other. But way back when, somebody created characters that lived through the ages into so many different versions.
And the only thing
Isn't that remarkable?
And without being a psychiatrist, I guess the reason would be because we connect with them, we relate to them. somehow.
Yeah, and the story is so enchanting. There's something so enchanting about, I don't know why, that these two people are in love in the mail but hate each other in person, and then one of them finds out that's the turn. One of them then knows the truth, but the other still doesn't. It's just a perfect piece of drama with perfect characters, and it just lives forever. And it's very magical, isn't it? It's very magical. I always think when I write that it's kind of an honor to be a writer.
You know what I love about, there's one part in the book, you've used, I think it's called Am I Jewish Enough? What I like about that is there are so many people who seem to be so sure about things like that, about religion, about God, and I think many of us say, I'm not so sure. I mean, I definitely know that I shouldn't dislike somebody just because they don't have the same title that reflects their religion as I do. But it is interesting that because I can relate to what you were saying. Thinking, well, am I believing the right? Some people are so sure. That's where I think I took from that is that we're not sure. You're not sure, and I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. No. I had this really remarkable. Well, I mean, I was on the Jewish book circuit, which is a Jewish writers who go to various Jewish organizations and talk, and I was raised in a completely non-religious home. So for me, it was kind of a shock to be in that world. So I started raising questions. I started asking all my friends, what does it mean to be Jewish? And some of them would say like lox and bagels. Another one would say, well, we were comedy Jews. And there were all these meanings that the religion had for them, and I was getting completely stumped because I didn't, you feel like you ought to bring enormous religion with you, and I didn't. And at the same time, I had this mystical experience, which, I'll make it really short, but I was writing a different book then, and I set it in North Carolina because I'd had a dream about North Carolina, a state I had never been in. And I wrote this book, and when I went down to North Carolina after the first draft, I found things that I had written. I found this amazing tree that I had described that had no branches on it, that was all alone in a field. I drove by it by accident.
Wow.
And then I stopped the car, and I screamed. And I said, how did I know that?
That is a cool thing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I wrote it in Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog. I wrote about that experience as this kind of when I was sort of writing about religion, which is, I couldn't even believe I was even writing about religion. Never expected to. But I wrote about this thing that happened to me. What did it mean? I don't know. Isn't that weird?
That is cool.
It is so fascinating.
Carl,
premonition.
What's his Carl Reiner?
Yes.
Right, that's who I drew a blank on his name. I was going to say Rob Reiner, but it was Carl Reiner. Has a book called I Remember Me. That's what it's called. I Remember Me. And he talks about faking the Jewish things he was supposed to say at some prayer. He was just kind of mumbling it, and he didn't really know it. And to this day, he feels bad that he didn't study as well as he should have. And it's an interesting part of our existence.
Religion is so. My mother, who was, I wrote a lot about my mother in this book because she was such a force. She wanted us to be writers, and the dinner table was so important. We always, told our stories at the dinner table, and every time I said something funny, my dad shouted, "That's a great line, write it down." And we were really primed to that, but because she was so against religion, I never really, she used to say this thing, religion is the cause of all wars. And of course, it wasn't true then, but it is true now. And she's not wrong. I mean, all this fanaticism we're surrounded by, it feels so upsetting to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. We have to take a commercial break, and thank you for being on the air with us, Delia. Delia Ephron is with us. We'll take a little break. Her book, you might have read the hardcover version. If you have already, you might want to share the soft cover. What do you call them, paperbacks now?
Yes.
Paperback. Yeah.
Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog. It looks like Delia was having a hard time trying to figure out who gets top billing. So you get Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog, or it could be Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog, or it could be Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog, or
it could be Mother, Sister, Husband, Dog,
et cetera. And then the word et cetera, very unusual to see et cetera on a title of a book. All right, we'll take a little break and be right back. This is The Source.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Partly sunny today, a shower or thunderstorm around mainly this afternoon. High 87 to 92. Watch for rough surf and rip currents. Clear tonight, low 68 to 75. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow with a thunderstorm later in the day, high 90 to 94. Friday, clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 91 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
That's the sound of your skin cooking. Because it's August, it's Florida, and it's hot. That's the sound of cool, refreshing water as you splash into your new radiant pool from ASP, America's swimming pool company. And right now is the perfect time to put a radiant pool in your yard. Not only will you be cooling off in style while adding value to your home, but now through Labor Day, with any radiant pool purchase, you'll receive an all-inclusive Cancun getaway vacation for 4. So you can enjoy your new pool all year round and get an incredible getaway vacation anytime you want it. And radiant pools can be installed underground, above ground, and anywhere in between. And did you know that you could finance your new pool with an interest rate as low as 4.99%? But you have to act now. This deal ends on Labor Day. So call ASP, America's Swimming Pool Company, 352-861-7229. That's 352-861-7229. Or stop by their new showroom, 9169 South Highway 441 in Ocala.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
All right, thank you. 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. Delia Ephron is on the phone up in New York. Did I even ask her where she is?
Yes.
You're in New York, right?
Greenwich Village. She said.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. You know,
Coming up and having coffee with me.
That's right.
I am.
Not already.
Delia, in Florida here, not too far from where we're talking, there's a place called Disney World, okay?
Yes.
And Disney World has this park called Hollywood Studios. And in Hollywood Studios, they have a part, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's supposed to look like you're in New York. In your book, you talk...
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's got the skyline. It's all made out of like cardboard cutouts or something. And I said to Robin, I said, I would know this wasn't New York. You can't really fool me because I don't smell any bakeries.
Yeah.
And you have this.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing? All the smells in New York, and if you're walking past a bakery, especially in the morning, there's no question about it. Your nose knows that this is a bakery in New York because it's kind of mixed with the diesel fumes. Right?
That is one of the things I think that is true about the smells in New York. They're always mixed with something else. So you do get the diesel fumes in the bakery.
Right.
Then at Christmas, you get the bagel store and the Christmas tree outside on the street, which is my favorite mix.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's really funny you say that.
But I never had the experience of tying my dog up to a bench outside of a bakery. But I can imagine that.
We all do that now because, dogs are everywhere in New York. I mean, they are. Well, I'm obsessed with dogs. I have a dog, Well, I got one when I was a stepmother, and I just want to say to every step parent out there, get yourself a dog because it's very important to have someone in the house that loves you. Having a dog turned me into a nut, no question about it. And I wrote a lot about that. I had a pet psychic over because I was writing a screenplay about a pet psychic. So, of course, that was my excuse.
Yeah, right. Was the psychic right?
The pet psychic, she was so nice. She was just like a normal person, really. She was, in fact, seemed like a very normal person. And the dog loved her immediately. Honey just immediately bounced all over her. And then she said to me, Honey is worried about your left thigh. Okay?
Uh-oh. Did it make you worry about your left thigh?
Well, I had something taken off my left thigh that week. which was turned out to be fine, but I was waiting for some results on it.
Oh, wow.
And there was a bandage on my left thigh, which no one could see. It was under my jeans. I have no idea.
Wow.
I know. So then she said that Honey didn't mind that she wasn't a mother, but she did want a complete litter of squeaky toy gorillas.
Did you get them?
So, yeah, we had to because of the left thigh business. I had to get a squeaky toy gorillas.
Yeah, that was the proof.
I know. So don't ask me. I mean,
See, if the psychic was a man, that whole the left thigh thing, you wouldn't have get any credence at all.
No,
because we're all curious about your thighs, left or right, doesn't matter.
I don't know. Yeah, right. That is so funny. But I've never heard of a man pet psychic.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not gifted that way.
But I mean, I used to watch John Edwards. Was it John Edwards? John Edwards. I always get him mixed up with the politician.
I know, without the S, I think, right?
Yeah.
John Edward or something.
Yes. Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I wrote about that in the book. Because there's a moment when he goes to visit the pet psychic. He takes his doggies to the pet psychic.
He does.
Yeah.
So he can't.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
There was an episode. I actually have it on tape. I taped it. It's hysterical. And
well, your writing is so full of life, and the book is such an adventure to read. I mean, you have to have that great balance between a person wanting to laugh and a person wanting to cry and feeling the different emotions, and you really run the gamut.
Thank you very much. That's really a compliment.
Yeah, we're really not being fair to your book, are we? Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog is the book. Wait, well, I will talk about the book. I want to ask you some other thing. You know, John Travolta lives in our town.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, how great!
So
he was so great in Michael, just amazing.
He did, and so I have a question about that transformation from the character you wrote to the actor taking that character and doing something else with it or something additional to it.
John Travolta, I don't think that character was. We were writers that came on later on that script. You know, there can be multiple writers, and that character was created by Pete Dexter, who's an amazing novelist. And it's such a crazy character, the angel that he plays in Michael. And I don't think anyone but John Travolta could have done it. He brings a kind of he's very whimsical, don't you think? And yet he's so, he could actually put those wings on his back and I don't know. Sometimes I think there's a part that could only be played by one person.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Were you there? Are you ever there on a movie set when they're making it? Oh,
yeah. One of the great things about working with Nora was, of course, that I was always welcome, and I was on the sets, and I was in the editing room, and I just had the most wonderful experience as a writer. And most writers in Hollywood are not welcome. Many are not welcome on sets or involved in the total creative process. So I was just so much fun for Nora and I, for me, that we collaborated. And
you've written novels, you've written screenplays, and you've written for the theater. And you really have to have different kinds of perspectives when you do all three.
Yeah. Well, material sometimes just pops out at you. It says, this, I am a movie, or I am a novel. I can't explain it. It's just something you kind of understand in your gut about how you have to do it. But I always wrote, you can be fired if you're a screenwriter, and Nora and I were so close as siblings that I knew if I didn't write books, I would never hear my own voice and tell my own stories and my truth. The weird thing is that in a family, I really think that no one has the same parents. That you're born into the family at a different time. Your relationship with your parents is completely different as children. It really is.
Oh, that's interesting. And you were younger, correct?
Yeah, I'm second. Yeah. And so, in a way, nobody has my stories are only my stories, and I had to write my books, my novels, and these books of nonfiction I've done, just to hear my own voice and to understand. It can get so muddy. You can think, where does she start and I end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the books really helped keep me grounded.
I've often wondered when siblings are both very, very good at something, if this is like a two-part question, I guess, is there competition, and does that competition make you better?
I'm sure it's different for brothers. I don't know why, but I feel absolutely certain. There are four of us. We're all four writers, and our parents were writers, and really we had no choice. I mean, my mother and father were raising writers. I can only say it like that. But my sister became a writer from the day she was born. I waited till the end of my 20s because it was so much to take on, and because, of course, I got diverted by various other activities like marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then my sister Amy became a writer late 30s, and my sister Hallie late 40s. They're all published writers multiple times, but you can see that the burden of taking on that, just was harder for each sister as it went on.
Boy, you are such a delight to chat with. I hope you're serious that I can come have coffee with you. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
I have to bring a plate up to the Bronx. My mom passed away, and I inherited a plate from the church I was baptized in the Bronx. So I want to bring the plate back to the church, and that was 60 years ago. So.
Oh, okay. Definitely. And there's this great bakery that I'm obsessed with. I live in bakeries because I think it's the only place where you can have it all and you can have more. Do
you like salt bagels?
Oh, you want bagels? This is not a bagel bakery.
Oh, okay. But do you like
okay,
salt?
I don't want
do you? No, that's
but
okay.
If you want that, I'll research it. Give me your demand.
What is it? A croissant? Is it a croissant?
Give me your demand, and we'll try.
There you go.
Delia Ephron has sent us a copy of her book, and I'd like to give it away. It's Sister, Mother, Husband, Dog. Call me right now. Your name will be on it, waiting for you here at the station. And the rest of us have to go buy it. That's how Delia pays for the dog food. And Delia, do you have a website?
I do, DeliaEphron.com, and I'm on Twitter, too, Delia Ephron.
You're on Twitter? Well, I'm going to tweet.
Yeah, of course.
That's one of your chapters, isn't it? If your dad could tweet or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's true. My dad could tweet. Oh,
see, that's what I love about writers. When you're not all writers, but your kind of writer, you think kind of quirky. It's the Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld, Woody Allen kind of thinking. Mm-hmm.
Well, you try and make it's got to be the world according to you. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah. How come you don't end up on the other side of the camera?
Oh my God! I never even. I can't act at all.
Oh, I bet you could.
That's a simple answer.
I bet you could.
Talent.
Larry David acts.
I have absolutely no acting talent, but I'm a writer.
Oh, you could do it.
You really bring everything to life, and you have the best attitude ever, because sometimes people might go into the dregs when bad things happen, but you always are strong for yourself and for others.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And just for the listeners, the very first chapter is about Nora, and it's absolutely touching. Delia, thank you for being on the air with us. And I'll go get a croissant. It doesn't have to be a bagel.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. I'm glad to hear you're flexible.
Thank you, Delia. That was great.
Bye-bye.
All right. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. An American's been killed while fighting for ISIS.
The White House is confirming